It's been a full 2 weeks since I got started on YouTube. And I got to say, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is regime change. We are in the second to last weekend of the Biden regime, and I can't be looking forward to Trump getting inaugurated any more than I am right now. I got started on YouTube about 2 weeks ago, a full 2 weeks now, and uh, it's been an interesting journey, mainly because I got started, I think it was Christmas Eve. I might have been watching some videos and folks talking about how the algorithm is now pushing out content of smaller YouTube channels. And that also led me to a guy that is getting some good views now, even though he was a small channel for about 5 years. But he's talking a lot now about how much money he's making on YouTube. I can't talk about that. I'm not making any. And he's also talking about how one of the things you could do is just get on and talk about your jobs, saying, "Hey, I'm working at this company, Amazon, and I make this much, and this is how I'm paying for these bills because people are going through the challenges because of inflation." Well, I don't have a job, but I had one coming. It was just a short-term thing, but even that got postponed by a couple of months. And for the first couple of weeks on YouTube, I was preparing for that job. It involved a product that I wasn't 100% unfamiliar with. I just hadn't worked with it. It involved something called Cisco ICE, Identity Services Engine. And I am aware of network access control, network admission control. I do know Cisco routers and switches and firewalls, and I know cybersecurity. It's just a matter of learning that particular tool, and I was training myself on it to be prepared. So I was doing that rather than learning the different tools on how to be a better YouTuber, how to do the thumbnails and the editing and so forth. Well, now that I have some time on my hands, I will be diving into those things. Since I am a tech person, I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm not wanting this to be a tech channel, but I will get into that. But back to regime change. I really do anticipate and expect that 2025 will not be what 2023 or what 2024 were for me, especially 2024. I was out of work for 8-9 months of the year. And so that's a decrease of about 70% of your income. And yet I'm still able to tread water. Can't do it indefinitely, and I don't want to. It's not that I'm going to be like one of those people who are retired and don't know what to do with their time. I know I'm not supposed to be retired right now. When I am, I'm not going to have that problem at all. I know what I'm going to do with the time, and it's not going to be concerned about where the next dollar is going to come from. I can tell you that much right now. But since I can't talk about the things that Dante London talks about or Doe Dash, I can talk about certain things that I don't see too many other middle-aged black men talking about, which is conservatism and from a technology, from a conservative Christian perspective. And so I will be talking about those things from my point of view and vlogging about that. So in terms of regime change, an interesting thing for me was I watched this program by the TV show Frontline, a PBS production, last night, and it followed half dozen folks or more, maybe less than 10, from the year 2000 to 2024, and the changes in their life in those 4 years. Some of them were business owners. There was a barber, there was a medical doctor. There were some people who owned a nail salon. There was a lady who was retired, and a single lady, black lady, and then a single white couple, elderly couple that I remember, and then a younger white family. They ended up moving to Missouri. I forgot where they were from, but they moved. So some folks were already Trump supporters from 2016, that election. Some were not. And it was interesting to see who held on to their prior beliefs in that 4-year period from 2020 to 2024 and who didn't. By the way, when it got to 2024, it only went to maybe September or October. So they did not cover these folks' reaction to the 2020 election that we just went through in November. And I remember the barber was one of those people who was, he was a black barber, angry about the whole George Floyd situation. I remember seeing Royce White, who I know from seeing him on the Steve Bannon show. I recognized his face as soon as I saw it. I said, that guy looks familiar. So it was interesting to see that he was one of the people who participated in helping some BLM marches. Maybe he never became a full radical, but maybe over time he learned that the MAGA way was more for him, because he ended up running for Senate in Minnesota with the backing of Steve Bannon and other MAGA folks. He became a very Trump positive person. I believe he even has his own program now on Real America's Voice, and says that Steve Bannon is somewhat his mentor in that realm. So they had an arc of folks going through the COVID, pre-COVID, then COVID, then some of the marches, and then the riots of BLM, and George Floyd, and then they finished up with just before the election. They definitely covered the debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. The MD was disappointing. I believe she was a Texan too, and she really aged in those 4 years. And as a medical doctor, she did not look in good shape at all. She was not a good advertisement for medicine. They showed her going from house to house, doing some get out the vote stuff for Kamala Harris, talking to people who were likely voters for Harris, making sure that they would get to the polls. And I don't agree with her viewpoint, but still, as an MD, she was not a good advertisement at all. I remember that. But I'm looking forward to the change. I imagine things may stay the same for a little while before they get better, maybe get a little worse before they get better. But hopefully some more people will notice the difference. For example, in my own family, sometimes people can't make the connection. They have some sympathy for the situation that I'm going through with employment, but I don't think they make the connection in how their vote contributes to that. There's someone older in my family who, when we get to talking about these things, it gets into a realm that's a little too disrespectful for me. They know I'm not really into profanity, but they'll use it in my ear when we're on the phone or at my house and talking down to me and yelling. I can handle debate, I can't handle disrespect. And so it was interesting when we were on a call together, this person said, if the economy doesn't get better, this was months before the election, if the economy doesn't get better, Biden might have some problems because people will blame it on him and it's not really his fault. And I was incredulous, but since he opened the door, he should have known better than to bring that up with me. But I said, Joe Biden is not unlucky. These things it's just, they aren't happening because he's misfortunate. He's unfortunate. They're happening on purpose. When you are anti-fracking, when you are anti-drilling, and all those jobs that are associated with the energy sector are put on hold until someone else sees things differently. When you give hundreds of billions to Ukraine, and when you allow millions across the border illegally, these things have an effect. When you allow our animals, the animals that we consume, to be injected with really unproven vaccines that are mRNA based, the same kind of technology that's used on the COVID vaccines, when you allow them to get injected with that and say it's okay for us to consume those animals, but we can't have an egg from a bird with the flu, and so you destroy all of these birds, that's going to make the price of eggs go up. These decisions make the price of everything go up. So yeah, it is his fault. It is, he does have a hand in this. And that person in my family wanted to respond to that and even said, can I respond to that? And I said, no, we got to move on. You said your part, I said my part, let's move on. Anyone else I can handle that discussion with, but not him. And I saw some of that in that documentary, that Frontline documentary as well. Some people had some back and forth with some friends that didn't go very friendly. But we do need a change so that people can see the real difference. Some people, I guess, have a short memory of what it was like under Trump. You can dislike the guy, but man, that was the best economy I lived under. I wasn't unemployed a day while Trump was president. I know everybody can't say that, but for me, that was the longest stretch that I didn't have to worry about employment. And now I'm back to where I've been during times when Obama was president, when George W. Bush was president, when Clinton was president, the uncertainty in IT, when that shouldn't be the case. IT should be a very solid, middle-class career. And because we've bastardized it by inviting in so many illegals or the legal immigrants, that you want to call it that, as if we don't know how to do the work, that's not helping. It's not helping. And I can't tell you how much it gets under my skin to hear the phrase, we have all of these jobs in cybersecurity, but we don't have the people to fill them. These people aren't trying hard enough, because I know plenty of folks who could do the work. I know plenty of folks who are qualified already, and folks who have the aptitude to learn what you need to do rather quickly. There are plenty of people who are in cyber who don't come from a tech background. They had somebody give them a chance, and now they're successful at it. I don't need somebody to really take a risk on me. I mean, I have the skill set to go with that. But nevertheless, anyway, we're 9 days away from the inauguration. I definitely will be watching and celebrating. And it's not just because I voted for the guy. I really think it's going to help America. Because the thought process that we've been having the past 4 years is the same thought process that's hurting California right now. It's the same thought process that's not allowing the folks in Appalachia, North Carolina, Western North Carolina to get back on their feet. It's the same thought process that's probably, no one's really talking about Lahaina and I believe Maui, Hawaii anymore, but I'm sure they're not squared away. They're not made whole just yet. And the folks in California, they're not done. It's still burning. They're talking about if the fire crosses a particular highway, it's going to get to Bel Air, it's going to get to Beverly Hills, it's going to get to Encino, and the Pacific Palisades are already messed up. It's not coming back. How long it's going to take to get rid of all of that debris? It's an incredible amount of debris they just got to get rid of before they can get to bare ground and start over. That's a lot of houses to rebuild. That's a lot of houses I saw to rebuild. And I don't know if those people moved to another place in California in the meantime, or if they just leave altogether and go to different states. I know I joked before about how Texas was full, but in a situation like this, we're all Americans. If they've got to come here, then they've got to come here. You're not going to like it as much. We definitely don't have the beaches y'all have in California. We don't have the mountain climbing and the hiking If you're looking for that, maybe Utah or Colorado. We got some good golf courses, but they're probably not as good as they are in Arizona. You might want to check them out. But everything that's happening in California is all under one party rule. This is the problem when you don't have two strong parties to choose from. Everything in California really is, from the governor to the mayor of LA to the people, everybody that's running this bad operation to fix the problem with the fires are all left-leaning folks. And some of these people who might be leaving the state or moving to another part, a lot of them are probably also left-leaning. Nevertheless, if they've got to come to Texas, come. Maybe they can learn from us. Maybe we can learn from you how to have beach bodies, because they say a lot of things are bigger in Texas. That includes the people. We have some rotund people here, and we could learn how you guys keep those felt beach bodies. But maybe you can learn from us how to cling to your guns and your Bible and put God first instead of climatology first. Put God first instead of climate change, instead of globalism, instead of Ukrainians, instead of illegal aliens, instead of H-1B folks. Put God first. Put America first. So with that, it's been a full 2 weeks. I'm excited about what's to come next. We'll learn some of these other tools that I have not taken the time to learn because I was spending time trying to learn Cisco ISE, Identity Services Engine. Now that that's out of the way, and I don't have any, I got the pipeline going. For all I know, somebody wants to talk about a job on Monday, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'll learn these other tools, try to make the videos a little bit more of something that even I would want to watch myself. And I'm glad for you watching, and I'll see you next time.